My wife and I were preparing to get married, and one of the things that we talked about was what we wanted to be on our gravestone. So we was deep. We went straight there. What I wanted on my gravestone was I wanted it to say, okay. When my wife and I were preparing to get married, and that's a whole story. I can't wait to share that one day with y'all. One of the things that we talked about was what we wanted to be on our gravestone. So we was deep. We went straight there. What I wanted on my gravestone was I wanted it to say teacher. I have a lot of hats, right? So I'm a filmmaker, I'm a theater maker, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I'm a director, a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a ministerial student, I'm a PhD student, an assistant professor. Y'all, and that's just what comes to mind right now. So I have a lot of different titles, right? But the title that felt truest to me was teacher. And I say that because teacher is actually something that somebody commits to throughout their lifetime. Teacher is a commitment to being a student. One of my good friends, he was like, man, you just love school. Because when I left undergrad, I went straight to a graduate program. Then I went to another graduate program. Then I was out of school for about, 6 years. And I was back into another graduate program. And then along the way, I picked up this ministerial journey. Accreditations are nice, but it's connected to my desire to learn. And I also had this deep, and still do, had this deep curiosity about, honoring what I was supposed to do in this lifetime. I would have like these dreams about what my life was supposed to be. And at the time, it would look like me preaching. And so I was like, yo, that's definitely not me. And along the way, I began to open up to that possibility, whatever that looks like. So about once a month, I'm doing what you might call a sermon at my spiritual community, which is great. What I want to talk about is make a plan, God. It says this in the King James Version: the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. In the New Living Translation, it says, we can make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. In metaphysics, the understanding of Lord is actually law. Law is spiritual activity. So let's read it again with that understanding. The heart of man plans his way, but the law establishes his steps. That means that there are laws in this plane that are just indisputable. We can consider gravity a law. What comes up must come down. Now, that law shifts once we're out of this vibration. So you see astronauts floating around because that law of gravity looks different. We could spend time dealing with all the different ways nature expresses that law. So there are laws that exist within this plane. And one of those laws that exists is the law of mind and action. That law simply says that whatever you intend, the action is going to be the result of it. Wherever your thoughts are, wherever you believe yourself to be, is going to show up in your actions. And so make a plan, God laughs. Really what that's talking about is, okay, we make a plan, but the law says it's really our actions that determines the outcome. And so when we make a plan, we're surrendering to divine idea, divine mind. If we are praying for the good of everyone involved, and that's something that I learned when I was in counseling. I was going through a really hard journey, my healing journey, and had to redefine what fatherhood looked like for me. This is before I got married. And what my counselor said was, when you pray, you have to pray for the good of everybody involved. It can't just simply be whatever your desire is and then, keep your fingers crossed. It has to actually be for the good of everybody, because that's what we intend. When we pray and when we hope that things work out, what we're really hoping for is that everybody flourishes, everybody is able to expand in love and growth, whatever that looks like. When we make a plan, what we really want to do is have that plan connected to a really intentional surrender. The act of aligning oneself with one's highest good, to hear the nudges, the inspiration, the guidance in which direction to go requires commitment. The universe is pure potential. It's a massive power and possibility. What's the name of that book? Lessons in Truth. So Cady is a pioneer in metaphysics. What she uses as a metaphor is we are like the ocean. And I love talking about the ocean because we know what that looks like. If you ever been to a beach, you know the power of it. So we are a drop of the ocean. We possess all of the compounds and the atomic structure. We in that droplet are the ocean. And that's our relationship to God. We possess all the inner workings and all the divine combustion of that divine presence. We are an expression of that divine presence. And so when we making a plan, we recognize that we are actually tapped into a mass power that's just pure potential. Yet we have to set our intention and align ourselves with it and give over to it actively. The process of giving over to that plan isn't one that's passive. It's one that says, I'll say yes to this and I'll say no to this. Warren Buffett says he made his money not by the yeses, but by the no's. That he says no to the vast majority of everything because he's so clear about what the yes is that when he sees it, it's a no-brainer. I made a plan to be in my divine flow, to be doing the thing that is expressing my highest ideal. We have these dreams and visions for what we want our family to look like, what we want our homes to look like, what we want our dreams and our artistic endeavors to look like. Opening up to that, this was a part of that unfolding. I'm practicing what I preach. So I mentioned it, but I think it requires more exploration, and that is visualization. Check out this video right here where we talk about the spiritual, you know what I'm saying? How does visualization unfold in a spiritual way? And so we talk about that right here. All right, y'all, see you on the other side. Peace.